Coming up on this week's episode, we're talking Palace, Spurs and Leicester, plus some more Wonders of White, a quiz from Liam, and Who Am I? So let's get started. Hello and welcome to a new episode of View from the Sideline podcast. It's Chris here, and Liam is here as well. Hello, Liam.
Hi, Chris. How are you?
Bit meh.
Yeah?
Well, yes. We're not going to talk about it, but I mean, going twice winning, in a winning position and then to throw it away, it's just a bit hard to take sometimes.
Briefly, you were behind Aston Villa on the table.
Yeah, but we made sure that I didn't last very long. I got your message.
Emery's in charge, mate. Anything is possible. We're hunting you down, but
we've got our own little scrap going on, haven't we? 10th and 11th, because I feel like each week, even though we're gaining like a point or 3 points, that obviously you guys did, the other teams above us are still winning. Like Brentford, like Brighton, they're still winning, and they've got games in hand as well. So I think less and less likely each week. Maybe a couple of weeks ago when beat Leeds, I was a bit optimistic that we might actually make some sort of European competition. And then the Champions League draw happened, and I thought, wow, this really didn't want to go in our favour at all. Would have been lovely to be on that other side, but
yeah,
have to go through Real Madrid first. I mean, they knocked us out last year, so. But one of the best games that I've watched Chelsea in a long time was that second leg against Real Madrid. We went 3-0 up.
Yeah, you were going through it one point.
Conceded towards the end.
Yeah.
But, it is what it is. And then obviously Bayern Munich or Man City after that. So. But who knows? It's over 2 legs, so you never know. But I'd much rather prefer to be on that other side. Never mind.
Should we talk about Palace instead?
Yeah, I was about to say we've had another axing. Not the most ideal, timing in the world. I mean, I thought they would be all right, Palace, but week in, week out, they're losing games and they're plummeting down the table, and
are they?
They're definitely in and around. I think they're going to be in and around that bottom place. I think sacking him. It's just they don't seem to have anyone lined up for it. I mean, it looks like that they're going to give the guy, the assistant, a chance. But I saw Roy Hodgson's name being bounced around over the weekend, and I just thought, that's just taking 2 steps back, surely. I must say though, under Patrick Vieira, I think Palace have looked a much better team. I think with Hodgson, they were kind of mediocre. They just kind of, did what they had to do, and it wasn't great football. But I mean, he's brought in some very good players, and he's certainly used sort of the players that they already had and made them, play a lot better. They're a lot more attacking under Patrick Vieira, which, might have been the downfall, with the amount of goals that they're actually conceding. But I think without a solid sort of manager, I think for them it's going to be a tough end to the season.
They've been dragged back into it. I mean, they've not actually dropped a position yet. That's how far ahead they were.
Yeah.
But they're now within
the
that group. They're all on 27, 26 points.
Yeah.
I can understand why, but I just had a look at their fixtures since the World Cup. Obviously, we're quite away from the World Cup now, so it has been a bad run. But they've lost to Fulham, who are obviously doing quite well, challenging for Europe. They beat Bournemouth. They lost to Spurs. Again, they're 4th at the moment. They lost to Chelsea. I don't think anyone would excuse them, even if Chelsea are having a bad season. I think if any team loses to Chelsea, we know they've got quality. They've drawn with Man United. They've drawn with Newcastle. They've lost to Man United. They've drawn with Brighton, who again pushing towards Europe. They've drawn with Brentford, who are pushing towards Europe. Drawn with Liverpool, who are pushing towards Europe. Lost to Villa, lost to Man City, lost to Brighton, and lost to Arsenal. That's their run since the World Cup. I think they're pretty much all top half teams, apart from Villa, who were obviously around them, and Bournemouth, which they won. So, yes, I can see they have been on a bad run, but I don't think. I think he'd got enough in the bank. I think for another couple of games. So maybe when you look,
well, I mean,
you can think it either way. The board could be saying, "Well, we're actually now playing teams around us, so we really need a bit of a bounce." And if they're not convinced he's the right person to do it, fair enough. But that's a really tough run for any team, I think.
Well, they're playing every single team below them.
Yeah.
Between now and the end of the season, the only two teams that they play above them are Fulham and Tottenham, but they are literally playing Wolves, Leeds, Everton, Forest, Leicester, West Ham, Bournemouth and Southampton.
So it's not the worst running. If they win 2 of those games, they're probably safe. And they've, out of the 10 they've got left, or however many. But, we said it before this season, teams are getting rid of managers without a plan, a replacement coming in. We saw Wolves do it. Okay, they've moved away a little bit, but they're still struggling. We saw it a little bit, I think, from Leeds, but they've kind of turned it around now. It seems like they've got the right man in charge to at least give them a fighting chance. Saints as well. I don't really think they had a plan after Hasenhüttl. They kind of stuck with Jones and then didn't stick with Jones. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe they have got someone in the background. I don't think Roy Hodgson is the way forward. It's a step backwards. He'll keep them safe. That's fine. But if you're looking at long term, if you're looking into next season or whatever, he's late 70s now, is he? He's old.
I don't know. He said he wasn't going to take any more jobs, didn't he? And then he took the Watford job last season.
Exactly. Yeah. But yeah, he's retired twice already. So
yeah, it must be worrying from a Palace fan point of view that, looking at those fixtures that they got coming up, you would expect them to win at least half of them.
Yeah.
Way that I know they're not playing great at the moment, but to be fair, they started off the season pretty well under Vieira. But yeah, without a plan, it just doesn't really look that great, if I'm honest. And I think in the back of their minds now, they're not going to want to pay a manager huge amounts of money to be sort of managing in the Championship. And I think when you look at it from an outside point of view, if you are a manager, it's not a job that I don't think is desirable with the position that they're in.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that they'll probably give this guy, is it Paddy McCarthy?
Yeah, maybe.
I think they'll give him it until the end of the season and sees what happens. I mean, if he keeps them up, fair play, but just, we'll have to see what happens.
They've really struggled going forward, basically. But I look at their team and I think they've got Zaha, Eze, Elise, that 3 there of attacking midfielders, if you like, is good enough for a lot of teams. I think even in the top half, to be honest, they just need someone who can put the ball in the back of the net. I had a look at their squad earlier today. I don't think anyone scored more than 4 goals this season. If they had an out-and-out striker fit and in form, and you play those 3 players that I mentioned behind, they're a real danger going forward. It's just not worked for them this season for whatever reasons. I think they've had a couple of injuries,
Yeah.
But that is a good attacking midfield, isn't it? I would be with that at Villa, to be honest. They're 3 quality players, and they're, Zaha, okay, I think he's nearly 30 now, but the other 2 are still in their early 20s at least. So yeah, I think the foundation is there. I just think they need a striker, and they'll be a lot better.
I mean, of the last 8 managers that Palace have had, Vieira's win percentage was 29%, which is actually the worst other than Frank de Boer, who I don't really think we can count. But I mean, they've got some interesting managers: Holloway, Pulis, Pardew, Allardyce, Hodgson.
I mean, it's
they've had it all.
battles, isn't it? It's really, pick a manager to keep us up. And
I mean, Tony Pulis had a 42% win rate at Palace, to be fair. So it's not like that he, did a bad job. I had Alan Pardew had 40% win rate.
and an FA Cup final.
Yeah, so we'll have to see. They could have gone for Neil Warnock, but obviously he's busy managing now as well. But I don't know. I don't think Hodgson would be the right move at this moment in time.
No, I still think they'll be safe though. I think they'll be okay.
Looking at the games they've got left,
yeah, a couple more wins and they'll still be fine. They've got more than enough quality, I think, in that team. Even defensively, they look, a little bit better than the teams around them. So I think they'll be okay.
Okay, we'll move on to Tottenham now. Well, actually, it's not actually Tottenham that we might be talking about here. It's Mr. Ranty Pants himself. I mean, yeah, I've not seen a press conference, an after-match press conference quite like that for a long, long time. Maybe since, I can't really think of one. Maybe the ostrich incident maybe was the last press conference that I can think of that's that memorable.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, he's still got a job, which, I mean, there can't be too many chairmen, people in charge of football clubs that I think would have taken that very lightly. After, I mean, let's just say he didn't hold back on the players, and I think it would have been a very quiet atmosphere at the training ground if they went back today. Obviously, some of them have gone away on international duty, but the ones that had to go in. But I've heard that he's actually gone back to Italy whilst the internationals are on. So
that's never a good sign, is it?
Yeah, I mean, it was. I mean, I don't disagree with anything he said, if I'm honest, but I think maybe there's a time and a place for that sort of criticism. Probably not public, and probably just keep it to the dressing room. I can't imagine what he was like in the dressing room after that.
No.
If he was like that in the press conference and he had a little bit of time to calm down. Yeah, I mean, he'd never at Chelsea. He's never like that. I mean, I know he was a bit of a character at Chelsea, and he kicked the occasional water bottle, but I never heard anything like that from him.
No, and like you say, it's a dressing room conversation, I think. But the bit that sort of got me was his insistence on saying that the club itself was quite happy not winning trophies.
Yes.
He obviously said it in different words to that, but the strong implication was we're all happy sat here not challenging for anything.
Yeah, I think it's probably to do with investment as well into the squad.
Yeah, maybe, I don't know, maybe it was lost in translation, but I don't think the fans.
Oh, I don't know.
I don't think the fans will agree with that at all. But he seemed to sort of imply like everyone involved in this club is just happy to, sit in fifth and not challenge for anything. But I think it probably was directed at the board. But obviously, if I was a Spurs fan, I'd be furious, I think.
Well, yeah, I think especially after watching what happened on the pitch as well. I mean, you can't, you're 3-1 up. Keep it tight at the back. And it just gets a bit leaky. I mean, they sat back, and it's not always the best thing to do. I mean, Southampton are, they're in a massive dogfight at the bottom, so they ain't going to give up after 80 minutes and just think, oh, it's over. And I mean, Spurs it's a strange one really, because they're not in. Where they are in the league now is probably where I would have actually put them, to be fair. So, to me, it's not like that they're any better or any worse than what I would have expected. I mean, it's just I mean, they threw away the 3 points there. There's,
Yeah.
There's no doubt in that. But I mean, on the whole, they're not doing terribly. I mean, they shouldn't have got knocked out of the Champions League. I mean, when Chelsea played Milan in the group stages, I didn't think Milan were that great. If I was honest, I didn't really see what the fuss was about, to be honest. And Chelsea outplayed them in both legs quite easily. To be fair, I know one of the legs they had Tomori sent off, but I didn't think they were that great. And I don't know if you've seen any of the Champions League, the game on Wednesday. There was just nothing about them. Like attacking wise, they just looked happy to be one goal behind.
Yeah, yeah.
And we've said it before. We've said it before about his tactics. About he literally has one way of playing.
Yeah,
and it's 100% not working. Because when you look back at some of the results that they've had, they probably, had they been a bit more attacking on Wednesday, they probably would have gone through. And I think there's been a few times in the league where they've just they've been in winning situations and just ended up drawing or losing the game.
Yeah.
And they probably could be up like, sort of around third with sort of Man United if, that hadn't happened. But yeah, I mean, it's what you do with the manager now, isn't it? It seems sort of it's strange, really. I mean, it shouldn't all be about him, and kind of it's overshadowed what actually happened on the pitch, and sort of what they're going to do going forward. Because, I mean, if I was one of the players and heard that at a press conference, it wouldn't be motivating to me at all. It wouldn't want me to think to myself, I want to play for him anymore. Because to me, it sounds like he's switched off and he's already, packed his bags. And if he doesn't get sacked before, he'll leave at the end of the season. Because I think his contract's up anyway at the end of the season. Yeah. So, I mean, he'll go back to Italy. He'll get a decent job in Italy. For him, it's neither here or there. But I would assume that when he took over, he probably had a list of players that he wanted to bring in, and we all know what Daniel Levy's like with his money. He's not just going to throw money around. And they've just built a new stadium, and arguably have probably one of the best strikers in the world up front. So,
I mean, if I'm a prospective employer of Antonio Conte, I'm probably going to take a look somewhere else, I think, after the summer, because I wouldn't want to hire a manager to say those things about whatever team I'm in charge of. But I think you're right. I think we expected them to be about where they are, but this season they're only where they are because Chelsea and Liverpool have been so poor.
That's true.
I expected them to be probably at the same level as Man United and Arsenal. Obviously, Arsenal have defied expectations, fair enough. But if Chelsea and Liverpool have been their usual selves, let's be honest, Spurs will be struggling to qualify for Europe this season. It's only the fact that you guys have had such bad seasons means that they are where they are. As a squad, I don't think they've got the worst squad by any means. I think they've got enough to challenge for fourth position. But I don't know, players, like you say, will probably have heard that this weekend. It's not motivating to any of them. I'd imagine if Conte does somehow pull this around and manages to stay, I imagine there'll be a lot of players that don't particularly like that decision and might want to leave.
Oh, yeah.
You don't want to hear that being said about you. So I think it's put Levy really in an easy position. I think he's just got to say either wait till the end of the season, let his contract run out, or get rid of him now. If he does get rid of him now, they've got Ryan Mason still there. He did a decent job when he was caretaker last time. I don't really think there's that much for them to play for other than holding on to that fourth position. I mean, they're out of all the other cups and things like that. Whether that's in the back of Levy's mind and he just thinks, well, I want to make sure we do qualify for the Champions League, so I'm going to keep him here for that, I don't know. But at the minute, I've got to be honest, even if he stays, I don't know how likely it is that Spurs are going to hold on to that position.
No.
The players are demoralised. You've seen it. this Southampton game really sums up their season. Like you said just a minute ago, how many times have they thrown away a lead this season? And they get, they played so well for 70, 75 minutes. They were, not dominating the game, but, they were winning relatively comfortably and deserved to be in front as well. And then something in them switches and just goes, right, we need to just sit back. Whether that's a manager's call or whether that's just the mentality because they've obviously thrown away a few leads this year, I don't know. But to just sit back and invite Southampton on, Southampton are bottom of the league, and no disrespect to them, but they're bottom for a reason, and it's because they've not really scored enough and their defence is quite weak. So logic says to me, if you're 3-1 up against Southampton, keep doing what you're doing because it's worked for 75 minutes. But they just sat so deep. Every time the ball got cleared from the defence, Kane is so deep trying to pick up the ball. There was no one up there. It just kept coming back and just kept coming back. And in the end, obviously, it was a soft penalty, but it was probably a penalty. He's kicked him. And, you've got to say that really for the last sort of 15, 20 minutes alone, Southampton probably did deserve something out of the game. So they're their own worst enemies in some respects because they've got the players there to do it on paper. I've always highlighted they're a bit weak in midfield, but they're not that weak. Not weak enough to throw away.
Well, not any weaker than what Southampton are they?
Exactly. So, yeah, it's going to be an interesting one with Spurs. I can't decide, teams at the minute, Liverpool have said it a lot this year, they're in a transition phase. I can't decide whether Spurs are or not because I think for them to be in a transition phase, Harry Kane's going to have to leave. That will be their transition phase. This should be the team that's challenging for trophies. And as they were so far, back in the league in fourth, there's no chance of them winning the league. I don't understand why, like you mentioned the Champions League game, why they didn't go for it. And they didn't. And they made it so easy for Milan. It was just a strange decision.
Who knows? Well, we'll have to wait and see for after the international break, but I can't see them sacking him. I just, they might just put up with it for the rest of the season.
The next 10 games, just playing for a manager that you can't stand. Yeah.
Well, they're not going to have to pay him off either, are they? Because they're going to have to, even though he's only got like 4 or 5 months left, I imagine, that's still an incredible amount of money. So yeah, we'll have to wait and see. But we're going to talk about Leicester next. Really around their season, this year. I haven't really spoken much about them, but they are one of the teams that are in trouble. They got a half decent point against Brentford at the weekend, which is obviously going to help them, and obviously meant they were actually at the bottom 3. But obviously when you think back 5-6 seasons ago, when they were at the top of the table and winning the league, no one saw that come in, but I definitely wouldn't have predicted that they'd be in the situation they are in now at the start of the season. What's even more weird is that Brendan Rodgers actually kept his job. To be fair, I think in a sense they've probably done the right thing there, not sacking him. He's a good manager, and I think it's mainly really down to the squad. When you look at the squad, they got rid of Kasper Schmeichel in the summer, and they didn't replace him, did they? They went with Danny Ward, who was their sort of understudy to Schmeichel last season. They bought in that Wout Vass, the guy who got sent off against Chelsea. He's probably got more yellow and red cards than clean sheets. And they haven't really, and players like Sionchu, who, for 2-3 seasons was like a solid centre back. Just he's been injured on and off injured all season, and he's never really got into that flow. Their striking options, I think Jamie Vardy, he's just. Can you even remember the last time he scored a goal?
No, he's not. He's sort of been coming off the bench a little bit this year, hasn't he? Maybe sort of winding down. He's not getting any younger, but I still think based on last season, he had plenty to give. You know, he's still quick, and it causes a problem for a lot of defences. I don't know whether he's struggled with injuries that haven't really come out in the press. I know he was injured for a bit, but yeah, he seems to have been back in and around the team, but not started. So
23rd of October was the last time he scored. They beat Wolves away 4-0. I don't know whether it's down to investment, whether the owners are just not investing, you know, huge amounts of money, but they've got a really, really young team as well.
Yeah.
They've definitely dipped into the sort of under 21s. You've got, I know he's not 21, but Dewsbury Hall.
Yeah.
He's sort of come through that sort of way. And, who else? I saw someone else as well. You've got Luke Thomas.
Yeah, Luke Thomas.
James Justin.
Yeah.
I think he's injured as well at the moment. Harvey Barnes.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, another academy.
25. So, and obviously, you know, they've got James Maddison as well, but he hasn't really got the ground running this season, has he? I think in the back of his mind, maybe wanted to leave last summer. He was linked to a few.
Yeah.
Well, especially Newcastle. He was heavily linked with Newcastle, wasn't he? So, I mean, they're in a worse position than what Crystal Palace are by far.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you sort of look at their fixtures that are coming up. They play Palace, they play Bournemouth, they're playing Wolves, they're playing Leeds, they're playing Everton. And last game of the season against West Ham at home. So it's so crucial that they keep picking up points. I think the good thing for them is that they've scored the most goals of anyone in the bottom half.
They've been a real sort of form team, if you like. They've put a bit of a run together and then gone on a terrible run. But just looking at their fixtures, they didn't win for the first 7 games. And then they only lost 2 of the next, I think, 8 or 9 games, something like that. Then they didn't win for 5. And then they didn't lose for 3 games. And now they haven't won for another 5. Like, it's a real streaky form that they're on. Obviously, like you say, young team, perhaps confidence is one of the issues. It's difficult to say about their investment because they did so well when they probably didn't have the money that they do now. They bought in the likes of Kante and Mahrez, people like that. I mean, even Vardy was cheap. I know he was when they were in the Championship before this ownership came in, but they probably looked at that model and thought, that's the kind of model we want to use, you know, buying cheap players, sell them for a profit. And it just hasn't worked necessarily, I think, for all of the players that they tried to replace with. So, I think they brought Ndidi in to replace Kante. He's been all right, but he's not obviously gone on to Kante's level.
Yeah, but he's a decent replacement, isn't he?
Yeah, he's a decent replacement, but he hasn't really played particularly well this season. I don't know why that might be. It's a strange one because, like, I mean, I've watched Harvey Barnes quite a few times this season, and I think he should be in the England squad. I do think he's that good.
He's been the standout performer this season. I think he's been, you know, by far their best player.
Yeah, in games that they've looked quite poor, he's still stood out. I mean, it's the same kind of effect as when Villa were down there, but Grealish was just standing out every week because. If we're going to win, he's the reason why.
Yeah.
And I think if Leicester do win, Harvey Barnes is a big reason why they do get the result. They didn't replace Kasper Schmeichel. Obviously looked really bad at the beginning of the season. Ward made a lot of mistakes. Kind of pulled it around a little bit. But he didn't play this weekend, I don't think. I think did they have Everson in goal or someone? But
Danish guy.
Yeah, I don't think he played at the weekend. So that I don't know what's going to go on there, whether he's going to seek a move in summer or not. But yeah, it's been their transfer policy hasn't been great. They've not bought in particularly like great numbers. They didn't buy many people in the summer transfer window.
You think Chelsea gave them 75 million for Fofana? So it's not like they didn't have the money.
Yeah, and I know a lot of the fans are questioning sort of where that's gone. I know they built a new training ground that was opened, I think, last year. So some of the money will be going into that. They are investing into other areas of the club. I know the owners are looking at other areas, investing in the academy and things like that. So some of it will have gone there, but quite rightly, the fans are sort of saying, we're getting these big money for players. Where are we reaping the rewards, in spending it in the transfer window? And yeah, Rodgers sort of hinted at it at the end of last season that he wasn't going to have a huge amount. But I think in his words, he said, we'll only spend what we receive. So, for any transfer going out, effectively, that means they're going to spend the equivalent. And they haven't. So I'm sure they'll be asking questions about that. But yeah, it's so tight down at the bottom at the moment. But I just have a feeling that this is going to be a year where a big club goes down. I said Leicester would struggle this season. I've still got our predictions, Chris, saved on my laptop. And I said that they would come in the bottom 5, I think I said, which is looking quite a good bet at the moment. But yeah, with them and West Ham and Everton, although Everton has struggled the last couple of years, at the minute it's looking like probably one of those 3 is going to be in real trouble. Yeah, I don't know which one it's going to be. Obviously, you can never tell because 2 wins in a row and the team is shooting up to 12th at the minute. But yeah, if Leicester do go down, there's going to be a lot of those players. Harvey Barnes will want to leave. Madison, like you say, might have wanted to leave last year.
They'll make a lot of money this summer, won't they, if they go down?
A lot of money. So yeah, I don't know whether it will be a case of an easy rebuild for somebody if they do go down. It could, spell disaster for them if they do. And they're going to obviously want to keep their best talent. So the only way they're going to do that is by putting a decent run together. But like you say, they've got a few teams around them, so I'm not too worried for them. Like I am, Everton or actually Wolves, for example. So I do think they'll turn it around. I think they'll put a run together, and I can see them being fine.
Cool. Well, that's it for this week's Talking Points. We'll be back in part 2 with some Wonders of White, a quiz, and a Who Am I? Hello and welcome back to part 2 of this week's episode. We're going to go straight into the Wonders of White. So, Bukayo Saka, 10 goals, 10 assists. He's the first Arsenal player in double figures for both goals and assists in the Premier League since Alexis Sanchez in 2016-2017 season.
Blimey.
And he's the only player to have done so in the competition this season.
To be fair, he's having a great year.
He's at peak. He's peak Saka at the moment.
He is.
Definitely a starter for England, would you say, on Thursday?
Yeah, definitely. I would put him in England's best team. I'm just keeping my fingers crossed he doesn't turn into another Wilshere or Barkley and we sort of burn him out too soon, but he doesn't look that way.
Walcott.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Sheffield United are the first side from outside the top flight to reach the semi-final of the FA Cup since Reading in 2014-2015.
Oh. And what a belter of a winner as well, by the way.
I mean, yeah.
And now they can't play half their squad because they're all Man City loanees.
Yeah, well, I did see on the radio that they were going to ask permission to Man City for those players to play. It's not like, I think City should let them play. I think it's good experience for them.
Yeah, playing a big game, play at Wembley. Yeah. Why not?
So Erling Haaland, he's scored more hat-tricks in all competitions this season than any other Premier League player. So he is on 6 hat-tricks this season.
He's on 2 this week, isn't he?
Yeah, the rest are all on 1.
Yeah.
Salah, Tony, Son, Foden and Trossard are the other 5.
He is unbelievable. It shouldn't be legal. Shouldn't be legal to have him in the side. He's just, yeah.
And last but not least, Harry Kane has scored 9 headed goals this season in the Premier League, and it equals Duncan Ferguson's record from 97-98 season, and we've still got 9-10 games to go.
Wow.
So, yeah.
What a mention.
Harry Kane started for you on Thursday. Oh dear.
Unfortunately, yeah.
Right. Let's get on to this quiz.
Right. I have pre-warned you about
Yes,
this.
I've been warned.
You gave me a difficult one last week.
I did, yeah, I did. I'm not going to lie. It was.
So this.
You did pass, though. Remember, you passed.
I did, yeah, with a bit of help as well. So there will be some help if you need it, I think, which I think you might. But this week's quiz is based on a show that I actually never get to see really because it's on a Monday and it's when we record this. But it's based on Only Connect. I don't know if you're an Only Connect fan, Chris.
I've heard of it. I'm just not intelligent enough for it.
Yeah, me neither, to be honest. But I've made it football related, so you've got a chance.
Oh,
So
that's good.
So you're going to have 10 questions. Each answer is a sequence, and you're going to have to guess the next answer. But what I'm going to do is to give you an extra chance of getting some points. I'm going to give you 1 point if you can identify the sequence, and another point if you get the answer to the next one in the sequence.
Okay.
So I've got an example for you. If I was to say Maurizio Sarri, Frank Lampard, Thomas Tuchel, who's the next in the series, who would you go for?
Sarri, Lampard. So you say Sarri, Lampard.
Lampard.
Yeah, I would say Harry Potter.
Correct. And what is the sequence of that?
So what is it? The Chelsea, the previous Chelsea managers.
Correct. So you would get 2 points for that. So
I'll just. Can that be question one? No. Okay. Yeah.
No. This can be question one, right? I don't know how this is going to go. You might end up.
I kind of got it.
Yeah, you might end up with 0 points, but you might end up with all of them.
It's fun. It's only a bit of fun.
Right. Question number 1. Are you ready?
I think so.
So here is the sequence. David Batty 5, Gareth Barry 6, Vinnie Jones 7. What's next in the sequence?
David Batty, Vinnie Jones, Gareth Barry.
Yeah, I'm gonna make it a bit better for you. So I'm gonna say David Batty has 5, Gareth Barry has 6, Vinnie Jones has 7. What next?
I will say Patrick Vieira.
Correct. Well done. And what is the sequence?
It's red cards?
Correct. It's red cards in the Premier League. So yeah, David Batty got 5 red cards. Gareth Barry got 6 red cards. Vinnie Jones got 7. And you could have had Richard Dunn, Duncan Ferguson, as you mentioned him earlier, or Patrick Vieira because they all had 8. So well done.
Oh, right, well, there we go. I'm happy with that.
That might be it. Who knows? Right. Question number 2.
Yep.
You've got Alan Shearer in 1996-97, Dion Dublin in 1997-1998, Kevin Phillips in 1999 and 2000. Who is next?
Oh, this is a tough one.
Do you know what the?
So if I get the answer wrong but get the connection right, do I still get a point?
You'll still get a point. Yeah.
Okay. I will say. Trying to think. Oh, this is tough. I will say Andy Cole.
Not Andy Cole.
But is Premier League top scorers?
It is Premier League top scorers, specifically English Premier League.
Okay, right, okay.
I'll give you a point for that already, and I'll give you another half if you can now guess who it is.
Okay, I'll say Alan Shearer again.
It's not. Okay. It's actually Harry Kane. 2015.
Oh, right, okay.
There was a 15-year period where we didn't have an English.
Okay, so they're Premier League English Premier League top scorers. So the years that they were. Okay,
yeah. Yeah. So yeah, Alan Shearer obviously in 97, Keon Dublin in 98, Kevin Phillips in 2000, and then we had to wait for Harry Kane in 2016 for the next one. Okay, so you got a point for that, so that's pretty good. That's not bad going. Question number 3. Chile and Germany have 1. Portugal and France have 3. Italy and Spain have 4. Who is next? This is quite difficult.
Oh, blimey. Chile. I'm just gonna say Brazil.
It is not Brazil. It's quite a tough link to get that, but once I think you get the link, you might be able to guess who, or, well, what nationality is next. So the link is, so this is half a point, the link is managers, nationalities of Premier League winning managers.
Okay, so it's Scotland.
It is Scotland. I will give you 0.5 of a point. Well done. Yeah, so Chile and Germany have won 1, Portugal and France have won 3, Italy, Spain 4, and then Scotland have won the rest, which is 14 in total. Number 4 is a little bit easier for you. Julian Lopetegui, Sean Dyche, Ruben Selles. Who is next?
Say them again, sorry.
Julian Lopetegui, Sean Dyche, Ruben Selles. Who is next?
So, can I guess the link first?
Yeah, by all means.
These are most recent Premier League managers?
They are indeed.
Right, so Lopetegui, Wolves, Garcia.
I'll give you that. It's Javi Gracia, but I know what you mean.
Oh, yeah.
You are correct. Yeah. So 2 points on that one. Well done. That is, the most recent managerial appointment. Obviously until Crystal Palace decide.
That's what I say, yeah.
Question number 5.
Yeah.
Your 3 clues are Gareth Bale, September 2013, Paul Pogba, July 2016, Philip Coutinho, January 2018.
Ooh. So who's next?
Who is next?
Bale, Pogba, Coutinho. This is tough because I want to say the link is the most expensive players transfer wise, but Pogba went to United, Coutinho went to no. So I'll go with I think these are the most expensive players.
Correct. They are the British transfer progression, yeah.
Okay, so next would be God, I should know this.
You should know this, yeah. You really.
My mind's gone blank because I was thinking so much about the link. Bale.
Do you want them again?
Yeah.
Bale, September 2013. Paul Pogba, July 2016. Philip Coutinho, January 2018. And then the next one. And you have got the right link there. It's just the British transfer record for progression.
Enzo Fernandez.
Correct. It is indeed. Enzo Fernandez.
That took me a long time because I was trying to think like. Right, okay.
Enzo Fernandez, January 2023, obviously going to Chelsea, now has the current British transfer record.
We should.
Okay, question number 6. You're doing well so far.
My brain is hurt. I'm not going to lie, my brain is hurting.
This is going so well. I mean, it's going to hurt a little bit more in a minute, but this one I think is possible. So, question number 6. Your 3 clues are Leicester City 3, Sunderland 4, West Brom 5.
Leicester City 3.
Any thoughts on what the link might be?
Yeah, I think trying to get the link first is easier. I think it's the easiest thing to do, that this is tough. Ooh. I wanna say, is this, I have no idea. I'm gonna go with playoff finals.
You're close. It is about promotion
It
and
is it?
relegation. It's teams relegated from the Premier League the most times. So
Okay.
Leicester among many other teams have been relegated 3 times. Sunderland relegated 4 times. West Brom were relegated 5 times. Norwich is correct.
Yeah.
So I will give you a point for that. Norwich is correct with 6. Next one. Now then.
Oh God.
Apologise for this, but I was kind of running out of questions to ask.
Okay.
I'm going to have to give you a clue, I think, for this one, but we'll see how we go.
Yeah,
go. The clues are Ragnar Klavan, Estonia, Abubakar Kamara, Mauritania, Onel Hernandez, Cuba.
You're going to have to say that again.
Klavan, Estonia.
Yeah.
Kamara, Mauritania. Hernandez, Cuba. And then next.
Bloody hell.
So this one is probably the most difficult of the lot, but
okay.
I will try and give you a clue if you're struggling.
Can I have a clue, please?
Yes. So the clue I'm going to give you is the next person in the list achieved this while playing for Aston Villa. Don't know whether
achieved this whilst playing for Aston Villa.
It's not that much of a clue, but
okay. Claflin was the one that played for Liverpool, but
yeah.
I mean that could be. I am going to say. I don't know.
This is quite a difficult one, to be fair. It's quite a difficult one to even guess. They are quite a random group of players. It's one of those where if it clicks, you're like, yes, of course, that sort of makes sense.
You said Hernandez, Cuba.
Yeah.
Is that a first name to Hernandez from Cuba?
It's Onel Hernandez.
Right.
I think he played for Norwich. And I can't remember about Abubakar Kamara. I will give you another clue. It's a goal scoring feat. So they all scored a goal. And
right. Have they all scored like a goal and an own goal in a game?
They have not, but it's a good guess. Okay. They are the first Premier League goal scorers from each of those countries. So
there's one more.
There is one more to get, and he did it while playing for Villa.
I have no idea.
It's Mbwana Samata, our favourite Tanzanian striker, unfortunately for you. He was the last player to score the first goal for a country, if that makes sense.
Okay.
He's the only Tanzanian to score in the Premier League. That one was a little bit difficult, but I thought, oh well, you made me sweat for it last week. Question number 8, should find a little bit easier, I think. Your clues are Laurent Robert got 11, Thierry Henry got 12, James Ward-Prowse has got 17. Who's next?
So is this most goals from a free kick?
Correct. It is indeed.
Okay.
Most goals scored direct from a free kick. Anything with James Ward-Prowse in, it's got to be free kick related, to be honest.
So there's someone that's done more.
No, someone who's
Oh,
than that. Yeah.
Ronaldo?
It is not Ronaldo, so you only get 1 point for that one. It's David Beckham. Of course, it's David Beckham.
Never heard of it.
No. Whatever happened to him, eh? Yeah.
He only scored 1 goal in the Premier League, and that was from the halfway line.
It's the only one we all know. But yeah, he scored 18 goals direct from a free kick, so James Ward-Prowse needs one more to match.
Well, he's going to do that. He'll be fine then.
Yeah. Question number 9.
Yep.
Your 3 clues are Worthington, Carling, Capital One. What's the next?
So this is the name, the sponsors for the League Cup.
It is.
So it'd be Carabao.
Correct. Well done.
They also sponsor Chelsea, so it's quite a fairly easy one for me, that one.
I forgot all about that. Yeah.
Although Worthington was a blimey, that was a
in the past. Final question. You have done very well on this, to be honest. I genuinely thought this was going to be a week where you don't ask me back on the podcast. Question number 10. Your 3 clues are Kevin Keegan has 2, Johan Cruyff has 3, Cristiano Ronaldo has 5. What is next in the...
Is this Ballon d'Ors?
It is Ballon d'Ors, yeah.
So, well, the obvious answer is Messi.
Correct, it is. Leo Messi was 7, yes. I didn't realise Kevin Keegan had 2. That's why I put him in.
Did he? When?
Yeah.
How?
Late 70s, apparently. He won it 2 years in a row. So, yeah, and then obviously Cruyff got 3. But there's a few players that have won it 2 or 3 times, but Ronaldo and Messi are by far and away the most successful in the Ballon d'Or. So well done. So out of 20, I just need to add up your total. You've got 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 and a half.
Well, that's not too bad.
That's pretty good going.
And you'll see me on Only Connect next week. If only the questions were that easy. I mean, the questions on that program are about 10 times harder than those ones.
Yeah, I mean, if Only Connect was football related, I might stand a chance of actually getting 1 point. But yeah, unfortunately not.
Their football questions would be slightly different, I think.
If they're related to Mbwana Samata, I might be your guy, but you never know.
Right, okay, who am I? Okay. So this week's Who Am I has retired.
Cool.
Okay, so there obviously are clues as always, and we're going to start with Dundee United.
Okay.
Rangers.
Yeah.
Everton. Newcastle. And then Everton.
Oh, 2 spells at Everton.
He did. He had 2 spells.
Oh. Who would have 2 spells at Everton?
I know,
right? So he's Scottish. I don't think Dundee United have got many foreign academy graduates coming through that team. And he played for Rangers as well. There's only one I can think of that's played for Rangers, Everton and Newcastle. I don't know if he played for Everton twice, and I don't know if he played for Dundee United, I should say. I know they get very catchy about the difference. I'm going to go with... I think we've mentioned him twice.
Weirdly we have, because you mentioned him as well.
I was going to say, it's Duncan Ferguson, I think, isn't it? Yeah.
It is Duncan Ferguson.
Did he have 2 spells at Everton? I didn't realise.
He actually had 3. Because he was actually on loan at Everton in his first time there, but he actually got moved. Sort of the transfer window was a bit different back then. He actually moved sort of after 9 games of play for Everton. They actually bought him like a quarter of the way through the season. So
no transfer window back then. What a lovely time.
Yeah, so he played 107 games in 4 years for Everton. And he actually played 123 in his second spell. Scored less goals, And he obviously is currently manager at Forest Green Rovers, so.
Yes, he is. Yes, he did take charge, didn't he, the other week? Yeah, I mean, he's not the most prolific, I'll give him that, but Everton fans love him, don't they? I mean, he's a cult hero, and he's an absolute legend.
Yeah, he actually only played 7 games for Scotland. Because he actually stopped playing for Scotland in '97. So whilst he was at pretty much the majority of the time that he was at Newcastle and Everton second time round, he wasn't playing international football. But yeah, no, he, weirdly you mentioned him and I thought, well, this is strange. I've mentioned him once already in the Wonders of White because he beat obviously Harry Kane equalled his record. That's where I got it from.
I mean, I hope he's not like Beetlejuice because I don't fancy Duncan Ferguson turning up in my house at the minute because I've just scrolled up on his Wikipedia page and it has convictions for physical altercations and burglary attempts at his homes. I don't fancy that, to be honest. He did go to jail for something he did on a pitch, didn't he? Yeah. Sorry, reading an on-field headbutt resulted in a rare conviction for an on-the-field incident.
Didn't.
He's got 4 convictions of assault, 2 from taxi rank scuffles, 1 from an altercation with a fisherman in a pub, and 1 from an on-field headbutt on Raith Rovers defender John McStay. There you go. Doesn't really happen very often. People don't get put in jail for doing things on a football pitch, but he's one of the unlucky ones.
Yeah, I mean, he won the FA Cup. He actually won Premier League Player of the Month in February of '95 as well. So he didn't do too bad. Never scored for Scotland.
No.
But yeah, there's a few ex-players managing down in those leagues. Do you see Jody Morris is managing Swindon as well?
No, I did not.
Yeah, he's managing Swindon now. I think he has been for a couple of weeks, but yeah, he's there now. So yeah.
I mean, his managerial record is 1 win in 14 games, so it's
not great.
To be honest, but you know.
Cool. Anything else for this week?
Well, it's our 100th episode next week, isn't it, Chris? And we've got the View from the Sideline Derby coming up.
Yeah, so there's no podcast next week, and so fingers crossed the 100th episode it'll be recorded on the 3rd of April, I think it was, I said. So yeah, we might have a few surprises up our sleeve. It just so happens that the Chelsea Villa game is a couple of days before. So
we planned it. We sent a message to the Premier League at the start of the season, and they put it on.
Very strange, but yeah, no. So that is happening. The episode will be out at some point that week. So, but yeah, 100 episodes, mad.
Still strong.
Well, yeah, I think you must be at least half of those. I think you've probably been on half at least of them.
I mean, that probably says more about you for putting up with me than it does about me. I appreciate it.
But yeah, no, I think the first one that we ever did was in 2018. So it's been going for 5 years. Nearly 5 years, like 4.5 years. Took a short break, nearly a year and a half. But yeah, no, almost at the 100. But yeah, no, so yeah, that is coming up. But like I said, we'll do a few different things probably in that episode. Maybe bring back some of the old things that we used to do. So yeah, no, looking forward to it. But yeah, that will be our next episode, the 100th episode, coming the week of the 3rd of April. So we'll see you then.